Your Honor, may I ask the court a question before the trial begins?
You? Just because you crawled in here, stinking rat, you think you can do whatever you want?
Jasmine Brooks didn't sit. She stood even straighter.
My client deserves to be heard, Your Honor.
Caldwell's face went red. Veins rose on his neck.
If you win this case, I'll resign. Otherwise, you black rat, go back to your dirty sewers.
The courtroom erupted. Pearl clutched her niece's wrist, trembling. Jasmine remained unfazed. She picked up a file, pushed it across the table. Caldwell opened it. His face turned pale. Then she opened her mouth and spoke one single line. The courtroom went dead silent. When the sun set, this courtroom would belong to her. This is the story of how that courtroom went silent. To understand what happened in those next 5 seconds, you have to go back. 9 days earlier, before the courtroom, before the cameras, before anyone in that county had ever heard the name Jasmine Brooks. She lived above a shuttered hardware store on the edge of town, in a one-bedroom apartment with water-stained ceilings and a window that looked out on a parking lot. The walls were lined with law books, not new ones, not the kind you buy for show. Old ones, with cracked spines and yellowed margins. Each one bore the same inscription in faded blue ink on the inside cover. Property of Theo Brooks, Esquire. Above her desk, a single-framed photograph. A tall black man in a gray suit, standing on the steps of the United States Supreme Court. He was smiling at someone just out of frame. He had been 38 years old when that picture was taken. He would be dead 7 months later. Next to the photograph, taped to the wall with the corners curling, was a certificate she had received 4 months earlier from the State Bar of California. It was unremarkable to anyone who didn't know what it was. To Jasmine, it was a key. Certified Law Student. Practical Training of Law Students Program, Rule 9.42. It meant that under the supervision of a licensed attorney, she could appear in a real courtroom, argue real motions, cross-examine real witnesses. She was 19 years old. She had been waiting for this her entire life. 2 miles away at 1402 Honey Ridge Road, her grandmother was making breakfast. Pearl Brooks was 82 years old. She had lived in that house for 60 years, beneath a massive peach tree her late husband had planted the year their son was born. The land had been in the family longer than the house. Pearl's great-grandfather had bought the parcel in 1922 with money he had saved over 14 years of sharecropping wages. Wages so small that the men who paid them used to laugh and call the savings the impossible dollar. He had bought it in cash, free and clear, and every generation since had held it. It was the last block in the county still owned by descendants of formerly enslaved families. Every other parcel, every single one, had been sold, condemned, foreclosed, or quietly transferred over the past 3 decades. Honey Ridge Road was the last name on the map. Pearl knew this. She had stopped pretending she didn't. Under the floorboards in her bedroom, inside a rusted tin box wrapped in oilcloth, was the original 1922 deed. She had not opened that box in 12 years, not since her son had died. Across town, Judge Harold Caldwell was finishing his second cup of coffee in chambers paneled in dark mahogany. The walls were covered in framed photographs. Caldwell with 3 different governors, Caldwell at hunting lodges, Caldwell shaking hands at ribbon cuttings. He had been on the bench for 22 years. He was not, in the small ways that count, an obvious villain. He coached Little League. He brought donuts to his clerks on Fridays. He genuinely believed he was a guardian of orderly progress in a county he loved. He told himself this often, the way men do when they need a story to fall asleep at night. On the corner of his desk, beneath a glass paperweight, sat a thank you card on heavy cream stock. It was signed in elegant cursive. With continued gratitude, V. Halverson. Caldwell didn't look at it. He didn't need to. He knew it was there.